The relationships in your life right now are falling apart. And it's not that they're all falling apart, but a good portion of them are. You don't seem to have any rhythm or any joy anymore. It almost seems like the relationships in your life right now are more work than they are pleasure. And this is affecting your family, the relationships that really matter. It's starting to bleed on to your wife, your husband, your children. If I told you that I believe God's got some insight for us today, would you stay to the end of the video and watch some steps that we got? We're going to be looking at Song of Solomon chapter 8, verse 6. Without further ado, welcome back to Love Note. So grateful to be a piece of y'all's Jesus story, a very small piece of what God's already doing at the house of God, at the local church. Put that in the chat. We got to get back to the local church. We got to start getting back to the house of God where we can be held accountable, where we can be mentored, where we can be discipled, be raised up, so that we can truly walk in the freedom of the gospel of Jesus Christ. You know, the good news of the gospel is not that my external experience is going to be perfect, because then I got to ask, perfect according to who? The promise of the gospel is that I'm going to be so free internally that there's not going to be any external variables or winds and waves that are going to pull me down. So without further ado, today we're going to be looking at Song of Solomon chapter 8, verse 6. Right at the tail end of this verse, I saw something like never before. And what I want to suggest is for these relationships that we're talking about, these steps that we're going to be going through, there's a key piece of misunderstanding that we're carrying in our own relationship with God that's actually bleeding on to the relationships we have here in the horizontal plane of life. And that's what I want us to understand. The first step is understanding that the most important and valuable relationship that you'll ever have is with God. So when we take care of our vertical relationship, heaven to earth, it takes care of our horizontal relationships here on earth. And so without further ado, right here at Song of Solomon chapter 8, verse 6, it says at the very end of it that his heart is as unyielding as the grave. So what I want you to get this imagery here. The grave is the most unyielding element in the human experience. The grave is coming for you and I, no matter what our health looks like, no matter what our finances look like, no matter what our relationships look like, no matter what clubs we are or are not a part of. The grave is coming for us. Death is going to meet us one day before we go home to eternity, where there will be no death. There will be the second death is going to take place for us as Christians or Christians, or those that are Christ-like. But what I want us to understand is the first step is death is coming for all of us. So what this does is it gives us this reality where we don't have to be enslaved to fear and anxiety about death, because death is a part of life. And death is a way of living, being death to self. So he's talking about the love of God here in Song of Solomon chapter 8, verse 6. And what I want to propose is this is imagery of God's love for you, God's love for me, God's love for all of us. So the love of God, the word here is giving us imagery, is that it's as unyielding as the grave. So for you and I that are Christians that follow Jesus, what the Word of God is trying to tell us today is that number one, we understand that death is coming for us, so it's not something we need to be afraid of. But number two, that the love of God is as true and as factual as death. It's also as true and unyielding as death, because the grave is coming for everybody that's breathing right now on earth. And so what he's saying here is that the love of God is coming for you. The love of God is coming after you. And this love that God carries is unconditional love. What I mean by this, beloved, is that it's not based off of your goodness or your ability to perform. The love of God is based off of His goodness and on His ability to perform. So third and final step today as we get ready to land this plane is that the love of God is coming after you. It's unyielding, meaning it's not going to stop, but it's trying to take you to a place, it's trying to take you to an understanding where you see that your reality here on earth is based off of one truth and one fact and one foundation, and that is the love of God. Because His heart, just like Song of Solomon 8, chapter 6 says, is as unyielding as a grave, which means it's unsatiable. He paid full price for you, so He's coming after you with a vengeance, and He's not going to stop. So you might as well co-labor and join Him today and yield to this unconditional love that's based off of His goodness and His goodness alone. Y'all be blessed.